So I was teaching at Swinburne College of Technology and first year Japanese. Although I had a BA in Japanese, I hadn't actually trained to be a language teacher. And I wasn't enjoying it very much. And in fact, that year told me that I didn't want to be a language teacher. And in the fall, when I was finished, I applied to go back to Michigan. Remember, the Australian school year runs from February through October. So we arrived in January. I started work in February, and I worked through till October, and then we went back to Japan. But during that time, I wanted to go back and learn more about Japanese archaeology. So I started going to Monash and got access to the library there, and would go up on the weekends and look up all of these articles in the library to read during that time. And then during the summer break, I went to ANU and used their library there. And very nicely, one of the women we had another Japanese friend in Melbourne who had somehow come in contact with this family, the Claytons, and she had taken him in as kind of her Japanese son. And when she found out about us, she incorporated us into all of her, generosity as well. But she had a daughter who was studying at ANU, so Jackie let me stay in her room the week of, it's like reading week or something, at ANU, so I plundered their library for all of the Japanese references. So that's when I started my card collection, which I still have, file cards of bibliographic references for Japanese and East Asian archaeology, which now numbers about 10,000 cards. And each of those file boxes holds 10 packages of 3x5 cards, and then so that's 1,000 box, and I have about 10 boxes of those, and I have no idea what to do with those now. It's so hard to throw them away. I think all this time that I invested in writing those things out and then discovering them, right? So when we decided to go back to Japan, because by that time I was applying to graduate school, and there was from November to August I had free if I were admitted. So we went back to Japan for the Christmas and spring. But how we got back there was interesting. We went to Brisbane to catch a boat. And again, this was not a tourist boat, it was a working boat. But so they had a limited number of passengers on it. And very interesting, when I arrived in Australia, I had lost my shoes because my sandals had broken. I had a really nice pair of leather sandals that I had gotten at Expo, but the water under all these showers and the rain that we had to walk in and had completely ruined the leather, and the straps had come undone, so I didn't have any shoes, so I bought a pair of flip-flops. And I actually went to a job interview at the Melbourne Art Museum in flip-flops and my Expo dress. Needless to say, I did not get that job. But anyway, by the time I left, I also didn't have any shoes, and I remember walking through Brisbane in barefoot, and burning my feet because it was so hot up there before we get on this boat. And the boat was really interesting because although it had a swimming pool on board, it wasn't a highly touristy thing. So, but it went first to New Britain and Rabaul, and we were on land there for a while. We went out and saw some of the Japanese caves where Japanese had stowed their equipment, and there were caves that actually still had the planes in them on rail tracks going into the cliff. So they had just left all that equipment there, and it was sitting there rusting. Yeah. And then we stopped in New Caledonia as well, and one of the Japanese passengers said, "There's a really famous author who lives here. Maybe we should go visit her." I mean, it's riffraff from the ship, But she was really nice and invited us into her house.
Who was that?
I have no idea. I don't remember. Maybe it's in my letters, but. And so those were the two things that were really interesting on that trip back, because how many other people have been to Rabaul and New
New Caledonia.
New Caledonia. Yeah.